on to Dan Schorr. Now, they say that there's a possibility of charging him with a capital crime for beating the woman who carried the baby 5 times. Do they actually need evidence of a fetus or some DNA indicating that fetuses were somewhere buried in the area?
They don't. Obviously, that would be helpful. But the statute is aggravated murder. The unlawful termination of someone else's pregnancy qualifies for capital murder if it's in the course of either a kidnapping or with prior calculation. Her word about what happened, it happened multiple times, with the other victims' testimonies and all the other evidence showing kidnapping, abuse, that should be enough to convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt.
All right. And, you know, they say that the DA is saying, I'm going to charge every crime, every rape, every this, every that. You and I both know you can't possibly do that. Pick 5 or 6 of them, nail them, and then you're going to get enough to keep this guy in jail for the rest of his life, if not death.
They're also talking about doing a separate charge of kidnapping for every day that they were in captivity.
That's not going to work. Do you think it will?
I don't think it's necessary. It's going to confuse the jury.
It's not necessary. It's not legally allowable. Every day is a separate kidnapping.
If they say it's a different restraint, if they were taken out of chains and put back in chains, you can argue that it's a separate restraint. That's how the statute reads. But I agree with you. Charge a few counts. It'll be enough to put them away forever. And possibly you could get the death penalty through the aggravated murder statute.
All right, Mark, you know that if this case goes to trial, the women are going to have to testify. Do you believe that these women are capable of testifying given what they've been through?
I don't, certainly I don't have any personal knowledge of this, but I think that considering what I've seen, I think that they're going to step up and do what they have to do. I don't think that they're going to back away and refuse to testify, but I think this would be a perfect opportunity to videotape a testimony or have the defendant in another room viewing the proceedings. I don't think it would be proper to have them in the same room as this man.
Well, and it certainly, I'm sure that a judge would make some kind of, appropriate setting for these women to testify. But, Dan, the mother here is the one who reached out and got that guy, Charles Ramsey, who I think is a hoot.
Amanda Berry.
Amanda Berry is the one who reached out. Do you think that her being the mother of a 6-year-old is what got her to really make that final step?
It's possible. We don't know yet what drove her to get help at the time. What made her think that this was okay? She could scream, she could get help, she could risk the wrath of her prisoner, but she did. Maybe it was because she had a 6-year-old kid who was starting to grow up and she didn't want her to grow up in that environment.
Well, and obviously, Mark, this guy was a pedophile. He grabbed these girls when they were very young, and this 6-year-old, I think, was probably someone that he had in his sights, don't you think?
I think so. I think these women, then girls, are getting older. And I think that he probably tried to kidnap women before this until he honed his MO. And I think he would have quite possibly tried to get rid of these women and replace them or replace the basement with more women.
Huh. All right, Mark and Dan, thanks very much. And I got to tell you, this guy's not going to survive in prison very long. I don't think they're going to have to worry about him much longer. But anyway, up next, now that their ordeal is over, can the 3 women and a 6-year-old move on with their lives? Or will they forever be haunted by this nightmare? And now that she's finally convicted, don't miss my take on what Miss Jodi Arias' fate should be.